Hello Orchid friends, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time watching my video, my channel is all about orchids. From what orchids I have, how I grow them, my thoughts on certain orchid topics, to what orchids in my collection are blooming, etc. So if you want to follow along my orchid hobby adventure, please consider subscribing to my channel and turn on the notification. Today in this video, by now, looking at this picture, I'm sure you know what it's about. It's a bloom video of my 4 miniature Oncidium orchids. 3 of them are Oncidium Twinkles, and the other one is a Twinkle cross back to Satoanum Oncidium. And this time around, it was this cross back to Satoanum that started blooming. And then it was the pink one, and then the white one started to bloom, and the last one to bloom this time around was the yellow variety. In this video clip, you'll see the first 3, and then the second video clip after this, you'll see the yellow one, and then we'll have another video clip with all of them together, and basically to share with you how festive it was for me to have all 4 of these in bloom at the same time. They didn't all started blooming at the same time, but there was a 2.5 weeks overlap, so it was quite fun to have all of these busy flower blooming. It was just a very good show, and for my friends who visited my apartment, they all fell in love with these miniature Oncidiums. The pink variety surprised me in a great way because it had snail problems, so all the 7 or 8 spikes that it was producing at the time were drying up. And that's how I discovered that there was a snail problems, and I did find 2 snails. But after that, it quickly put out more new flower spikes from really tiny new growths, so this orchid totally surprised me because I really thought this orchid wasn't going to bloom at all this time. So the pink variety was in semi-hydro setup with leca beads, hydrocorn media, but now it's just in full water culture, and I haven't decided if I want to do water culture for these Oncidiums just yet. I may try something different just to see if they will do better, but the white one, since it's happy in semi-hydro, as you can see, I am not going to do anything different to this one, because if it's not broken, I'm not going to fix it. And here, you'll see the yellow one started to bloom. Yellow one was the last one of the 4 to start blooming for me. It took its sweet time because I kept waiting, and finally it started to bloom. But it was well worth the wait because the yellow was very, well, yellow. The yellow was very saturated yellow. It wasn't a faint yellow, so that's exactly what I was hoping to get, because its name is Oncidium Twinkle Sunlight. So if it's a faint yellow, I don't know why it would be called Sunlight. And this yellow variety is currently still in water culture, and because it's a very small division, the pseudobulbs are all really small, so the root system, it's kind of short, so it's just sitting at the very bottom of the cup with some water, and because the roots are short, so the wicking is just wicking too much water, that I see lots of constant moisture between pseudobulbs, so that the tissues between pseudobulbs are always somewhat too moist. So I'm thinking that I may have to put a layer of pebbles at the bottom, or somehow position this orchid so that it can be elevated a little bit, but still allow the roots to absorb water to wick up. So I've been thinking about what I need to do with this yellow one as well, but I haven't really reached a conclusion or decision. But if I do, and if I do decide to go with something different, I will definitely make a video and keep you posted. And here is another view of these orchids in bloom. I moved them to the growing rack because I wanted to share with you these orchid bloom in a different light and in a different background, so you get to see them in a little bit more of a close-up with a better lighting. But overall, I think I'm pretty happy with its bloom cycle this time around, especially for the pink one, because I didn't think this pink variety was able to bloom at all after that snail problem, because it was potted in semi-hydro to begin with, but I discovered two tiny snails, so I had to do an emergency unpotting and repotting, and in the process I had to use systemic insecticides and pesticides just to make sure that I eradicated all the potential hitchhikers, right? So at the time, because of the snail problem, the pink one actually lost all its flower spikes, and then pretty soon, within a month and a half, if I remember correctly, it started to grow more flower spikes from really tiny new growth. So for me, that was quite amazing, because I thought Oncidium orchids would have to bloom out of mature pseudobulbs. But anyway, I guess it knew that was the time of the year that it's supposed to bloom, so it did all it could to put out flower spikes and bloom. So I guess in a way, this pink variety this year did not skip a beat at all. And here are some photos of these flowers. I decided to take more photos of these flowers because sometimes the videos, there's a lot of going back and forth, some shaking, and photos are sometimes much better to really see up close how the flowers look like, and the color contrast between different varieties, and the way they hang. Also, they all had fragrance as expected. However, the pink varieties does have stronger fragrance with a hint of cinnamon, and then it's probably the white one that's more fragrant, and the smell is very much like the sugary syrup, maple syrup smell. And I would say the yellow one has more of a faint sweet fragrance, and it's quite different from the yellow variety I used to have. The one that I had before, that one put out really, really strong fragrance. But this time around, this particular plant, probably because it's still a young plant, the pseudobulbs are still pretty small, and it's a small division, so maybe that's why. So I guess time will tell. But so far, the pink one in my collection, amongst the 4 miniature Oncidium, is the most fragrant. This orchid type is great for orchid beginners, so if you happen to stumble upon this video, I highly recommend that you get a couple. In fact, not just this miniature Oncidium orchid. Oncidium orchid in general, they're pretty forgiving and pretty rewarding, so if you want to give it a shot, I highly recommend it. Lastly, you want to check eBay or websites of online nurseries to be able to get these orchids, because I've never seen them at grocery stores. this is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!